Hello, ladies and germs. Welcome to a Gobbet Pus number 11, Legionella. It's not just for Legionnaires anymore. From September 17th, 2008. My medical career, such as it is, started around the time of the first cases of toxic shock syndrome, HIV, and the first outbreak of Legionnaires in Philadelphia. I am that old, or perhaps mature, or perhaps overripe. I gave a lecture at the med school this week, and there were students who were not yet born when I got my MD. At least I do not yet smell of mothballs. The hotel where the American Legion met has been demolished because no one would stay there. Curiously, my brother, on a trip to China, stayed at the hotel where the SARS outbreak first occurred, and he says business is booming. Legionella is, from a disease etiology perspective, cool. Legionella are found in fresh water, such as lakes and streams, where the bacteria need free-living amoeba as hosts for survival and multiplication. That's cool. It needs amoeba to live. But not only is it found in lakes and streams, it's found in the roadside puddles after rains, shower heads, decorative fountains, nuclear cooling tower, and potting soils, all of which have been implicated in the transmission of Legionella, except I think for the puddles where they've just found Legionella growing in them. If I see a cooling tower, I think Legionella. I suppose it will kill Homer someday. Here in the great Pacific Northwest, despite our penchant for rain and other forms of wet, we do not have as much Legionella pneumonia as one would expect. And it's not for lack of looking. We spend thousands of dollars every year testing for Legionella and maybe get a case once a year at the hospitals where I practice. And it turns out to be even odder as Legionella is on an upswing in the rest of the country. Quote, a total of 23,000 cases. I always want to do a high-pitched old woman's voice. I'll start over again. A total of 23,000 cases of legionellosis were reported to the CDC from 1990 through 2005. The number of reported cases increased by 70%, with the eastern part of the United States showing the greatest increase. End quote. Why is that? Why not in the great Pacific Northwest? Personally, I think good beers are protective, but then I always credit beer. The other interesting thing is that when Legionella occurs, it is after hot, humid weather, and while we are wet, we are usually not hot and humid. Thundershower weather is not common in the Pacific Northwest. If you have those meteorological conditions, thundershowers, you can expect an upsurge in your Legionella cases about 6 to 10 days later. This was shown in Philadelphia. But hot, wet, humid weather is not the hallmark of Oregon. We tend to get long, cold drizzle. I remember a Ray Bradbury story about a kid who lived on a planet where it stopped raining about once every 100 years, and they were to get 4 hours of sunshine. Everybody went out into the sun except for one poor kid who is locked in a closet by his classmates. That is what Oregon winters are like. Long, cold drizzle, not being locked in a closet by your classmates. But the last 2 years, we have had more summer days like Minnesota with hot, humid, and thunder showers. And I always challenge the house staff to find me a Legionella after a thunder shower, and they always do. And they get a Scooby snack. Good boy. It may be due to increased surveillance of the disease, but it is a fun predictor nonetheless, and residents get interested. Climate scientists are predicting with global warming more hot, humid, wet, and thunder showers here in the great Pacific Northwest. Are you tired of my chauvinism yet? So I wonder if we will also see an upswing in Legionella in the last half of this decade. I bet we do. How and even if climate change is going to increase or decrease local incidence of Legionella is not yet well worked out. However, this is only one of many diseases that have the potential to increase with climate change. References of note: increasing incidence of legionellosis in the United States, found in Clinical Infectious Diseases, 2008, volume 47, and it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Weather increases legionellosis risk in the greater Philadelphia metropolitan area, Journal of Infectious Diseases, 2005, volume 192. And I will see you next time for another Gobbet Opus. Hey, and don't forget to go to iTunes and feed my ravenous ego by giving me a stellar review. I'm in this for the reviews, you know.